It is time for some more high-level StarCrafts, and today I got a Protoss versus Terran for you. Of course, I already did do one of those videos for high-level StarCrafts for Terran as well as for Zerg. If you are interested, I will leave links down below the like button in the description of the video. But today we got a Protoss versus Terran, so let's give him the GLHF as well. Of course, the goal of this video is to try and figure out whether or not it is possible to, play competitive matches in the StarCrafts arcade mode. And in case you are completely unfamiliar with what is being played right now on the screen, this is basically a complete graphical overhaul of how StarCraft 2 normally runs in the multiplayer version of the game, except we are using the StarCraft graphics, which is infinitely more cute, but also just as playable, at the very least as far as I found out so far, for Terran and Zerg, just as playable as the normal multiplayer version of the game is. Now, one thing to note about my Protoss play, okay, and I'll be the first one to admit this, I generally speaking do play relatively cheesy. I mean, there are a lot of Protoss cheeses to choose from, and adepts are really good. So that is usually what I do focus on, and I feel like if you are giving, Protoss at least a little bit of wiggle room, and they're gonna pick up a couple of probe kills here and there, or a couple of SCV kills or drone kills here and there, usually you're gonna pick up a very nice little advantage. But of course, we'll have to just simply get started and try our very best in the earlier stages with, or of this match rather. And I think I want to go ahead and get started with some quick expanding and then into some adept play. Obviously, adepts are absolutely amazing, and I should be able to expand rather early here as well, considering my, expo is obviously relatively close to my main base here as well. Actually, it's very close. Of course, the maps that we are playing on are, usually played as 3v3 kind of situational type of maps. So that does mean that, they're not really designed for the 1 versus 1 multiplayer aspect of the matchup. But all things considered, I think we'll be okay. So I'm going to be starting off with my very first adept here. Of course, this is a scouting SCV, in case you were unfamiliar with it. Looks really funny as well. But things are so cute in this mod. I really enjoy playing it. It's so much fun. I've been playing quite a lot of games, but not Protoss just yet. So I guess we'll figure it out together. Anyhow, I'm going to be canceling this one probe I was building and then get the mothership core here just in case as well. And at the same time, I want to make sure I get another pylon up as well, just in case of a photon overcharge. Obviously, it's very likely that my opponent is going to go for some sort of Reaper play. So I'll go ahead and get myself a second adept here too. And look at the mailbox. It's scouting out for incoming potential harass from my opponent. I do want to make sure that I get my robotics facility here relatively early on into the game as well. Reason being is that I'm going to need observers in case of, like, Widow Mine drops and all that. And afterwards, I think I'm going to go ahead and transition towards a Twilight Council. And I think I may actually just end up getting that one right now. Don't really need to, get it all too late here either. So, all in all, I should be okay on 2 gas, guys. There's one thing to note, by the way, is that we've got only 7 mineral patches in the main base, which is a little unusual, but I think we'll be okay. I'll make one more pylon here in the front as well, just so my mothership core can indeed overcharge that if it turns out to be necessary. And I'll make sure that everything is hotkeyed properly here too. Robotics facility is finishing up just about right now. I'll get the forge here as well. Gotta be careful that I don't, like, lose this one pylon though, because obviously currently we are in a bit of a scary position. There is a scan going down from my opponent, so I'm gonna move over my adepts and my my mothership core, just so we are, aware of what is going on. And I'll go ahead here and get the Resonating Glaives. Obviously, Resonating Glaives, very helpful upgrade, as it will allow me to start two-shotting Marines with the +1 melee upgrade, which is super powerful. And I think we're already practically done making workers here, to be honest with you. There is an observer out. I'll make another one as well, just in case. Let me get another one of those. And I think I'm going to go ahead and add on my gateways right now. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5 gateways right now. Ideally, I get like 8 of them. Now, you gotta keep in mind that my opponent is gonna be a relatively high-level player here as well. So he probably will try and figure out what is going on my side of the map here very shortly. But anyhow, that is going to be 8 gateways for me. If this gets scouted, he can obviously respond with plenty of options. He has a lot of different ways he can react to this. But I'll go ahead and get myself a War Prism right now as well. And I want to make sure that I'm chrono boosting out that thing too, because otherwise we may be in a little bit of a scary position. Okay, so we found out what my opponent is up to. Looks like there's a bunch of Marines. There's actually already a couple of them, but there's actually very little. There's actually very little army right now for my opponent, so I think we definitely do want to start moving. Although, oof, These are the Widow Mines that I was talking about. The Widow Mines are indeed here. Now, I got my Observer here ready to go. Sadly, I actually did not get my +1 attack nearly as early as I should have here, which may cost me a little bit too, but while we lost a couple of eco and a little bit of the income that we were having, I do have everything else that I needed to in this match ready to go. Gonna have to defend for just a second longer. Okay, Photon Overcharge going down. Okay. And with that, I think I'm gonna move all of my units. He's going for the heavy drop play, isn't he? I'm gonna move all of my warp gates over towards, or all of my gateways over towards warp gates. Okay, so you can start flying across the map, both of you. I think you can hang out right over here. And I'll try and do some damage here as well. We gotta be very careful though, because so far my opponent has got my number here. He's managed to do a lot of damage, which also is the reason why we found so little army on his side of the map. Where are we gonna fight? I think we're gonna try and engage from here. Ooh, bunch of aggression coming in. I'm gonna warp in at home with a couple of the gateways that I've got. And push across the map here with the same army that I have already positioned. Warp Prism is good to go. Okay, go ahead. Transition. There we go. And I think I want to start pushing here. Not entirely sure how much my opponent has. Ooh, he's got a reasonable army. I'll go ahead and put up my Time Warp. Okay, nice. Very helpful. Got a lot of damage coming in here. And as long as I can kill at least a reasonable amount of his army, I think we'll be okay. Trying to go throw up a Force Field. There we go. Force Field is very good. Gotta be careful against these Widow Mines so that I don't randomly lose a whole lot of the incoming damage. I got a few more Adepts coming in, but I think it is time for us to start shading onwards here. I did lose a little bit of my eco. I have since started rebuilding that. Okay. There is some aggression going on my side of the map as well, and we are both harassing each other just fine. But I think I've got the upper hand at the very least on his side of the map. Now, as long as I don't lose all of my stuff here, I think we're gonna be able to do significantly more damage to him than he can deal to me. I'm still fighting on his side of the map too. I wanted to go ahead and bring a couple of my units home with the Mothership Court, or the Mothership Core's teleport. But, oh, I attacked right before Stim finished up. Nice. So that is going to be GG in my favor. Now, this is honestly very similar to what my ladder games look like as well. Obviously, pretty much all of the Protoss players out on the ladder right now play very, very adept heavy just because they're extremely powerful. And while the build that I did go for here was relatively cheesy, obviously, it's pretty much guaranteed to do certain amounts of damage to your opponent, and it's designed to hit as early as possible so you can prevent your opponents from really getting, you know, that big amount of economy and all of the upgrades out, because obviously late game Terran is pretty scary. Now, as far as my transitions go, I would have tried to transition towards, say, like, for example, a robotics bay here and go for a couple of the Colossus or potentially the Disruptors. That's what I have been focusing on as well. But once more, even though I've been saying this pretty much every single match of StarCrafts that I've played so far, this plays exactly like the multiplayer version of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. And honestly, the only reason that I can come up with right now is, you know, that's preventing this from like developing a competitive scene is just the map. I mean, this map is a pain, and obviously neither of us really abused the map positioning here whatsoever. But if my natural would have been in a relatively normal position, so not this close to my main base, I wouldn't have been surprised if my opponent would have been able to clean me up, right? But I think we need some 1 versus 1 maps, and at that point, we can most definitely go ahead and play competitive matches. As it is right now, though, from the games that I have played with Zerg, if you go for like a heavy Zergling, Baneling type of army, there are so many ramps leading up to all of the bases, because it's, you know, by default a 3v3 map, that makes it, it makes it a little unfair. But everything else considered, the game plays exactly the same, and the only thing I really see it holding it back right now is going to be the map. And that is something that I hope they're going to be introducing in the future as well. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. So is Protoss playable in StarCraft? Most definitely, just like the other races. I want to thank you all for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright? And I will see you in the next one.